Hi everyone, it's Corinne. Welcome to this episode of Mindset Mondays. And thanks to a subscriber, Gemma, for suggesting this topic, which surely applies to us all, how to avoid burnout. So I have today 6 tips for you. I like to think a lot about workplace, mental health, work-life balance. So this was a topic that really spoke to me. Tip number 1 on avoiding burnout. Look at your rates and make sure that you are charging enough that you don't have to be working yourself into the ground. I know that sounds like a basic and perhaps unrelated tip, but I think when translators come to me and say that they are feeling burnout, feeling like they're working too much, the first thing I ask is, are your rates so low that you have to work all the time? Or, someone comes to me and says, I'm working 60 hours a week and I only made $35,000 last year. My advice would be start there, because sometimes working less, even though it sounds like a simplistic solution, is what needs to happen. Number 2, try to make the most of the ebbs and flows of freelancing. So, one thing I really force myself to do is, as long as I'm reaching my overall income goals for the month or the year or whatever, when I have a day that I don't have any work, I just take an easy day, right? So instead of stressing out, or sometimes even instead of forcing myself to work on marketing, I just take it easy for a day. And that allows me to, when I have a time that a bunch of clients really need me and I might have a crazy week, it allows me to survive that and then take a little time off to make up for it. Number 3, actively seek out work you enjoy. There are way too many translators working on whatever falls in the inbox and feeling burnout because they don't enjoy what they're working on. The cure for that: seek out work you enjoy and are good at. Number 4, at least give yourself weekends off, or give yourself 2 days a week off and unplug. Put on an autoresponder if you need to. If you are afraid of what will happen if clients email and you're not there, put on an autoresponder and say, I will be back in the office Monday morning at 8:30 a.m., but make sure that you give yourself some unplugged time. Number 5, feel the breaking point coming. This is really, really important. So as entrepreneurs, all of us know, you try to stick to a regular schedule, you try to give yourself unplugged time, and sometimes that doesn't really work. You have a great client who really, really needs you, or things are going crazy at home and at work. But make sure that you pop that emergency chute before you really go over the edge. So as an example, I've had a lot going on at home and at work, and yesterday at 9 p.m., I got in bed with my foster cat and my copy of The New Yorker, and that was the day, and I did not feel guilty about it. So I think it's super important to don't let yourself go to below empty. If you think of it like driving your car around, when you're on a quarter of a tank, that's the time to get gas, not when you're running on fumes. Make sure that you sense your breaking point coming and give yourself a break before you really go over the edge. And tip number 6, schedule free time. This is another one that I'm a big believer in. So as an example, I play in a music group that everyone else in the group except me is retired. And so we meet on Tuesday mornings from 10 to 12. And I actually turn down work. So now that I do interpreting, I might, all of that is on site. With translation work, I just rearrange, but with interpreting, if I get a call for an interpreting assignment that day, I actually turn it down because I do not touch my music group time unless it's absolutely unavoidable. So I think scheduling free time is another must, and it also creates these sort of, punctuation points in your day that you can't work then because you have something else scheduled. So 6 tips. Make sure you're charging enough that you don't have to work all the time. Number 2, make the most of the ebbs and flows. Number 3, actively seek out work that you enjoy and are good at. Number 4, unplug on weekends, or at least give yourself 2 days a week off. Number 5, feel the breaking point coming. Number 6, schedule free time. Okay, hopefully those are helpful.